Good afternoon. As you can see, the shadows are long. It is already a little bit later and cooler therefore. And I decided to walk around and show you a little bit of the chop and drop action that we did today. So let's start here in this area behind the house, which is almost completely in the shadow now. So here, quite a few things. It's actually pretty dark now. Quite a few things got chopped and dropped in order to give this guy that was struggling a little bit more access to light. And also the one there that was also struggling. It's not so much that the moisture was missing, but also the light. So this should help. Of course, this is not that much to feed the soil, but at least there is something. And you might remember the very tall sunflowers and corn there. They also got cut, but not completely. The idea is to continue to make roots in the soil. So the tall one is left standing, and everything else got basically cut to chest height. So there is still a lot of biomass that continues, and it is not sucking that much moisture. I assume the taller a plant is, the more water it will require. There you see Mrs. Cat. She is definitely smart and stays on that side. So that's very good. So in here, the chop and drop is missing. It's because Andrel is on vacation and I don't like to use the gas-powered tool. I have no idea what this tool is actually called in English. But the weeder, yeah, probably the weeder. So in a few days when he is back, this gets taken care of. Interesting is, you see a wheat there, and that is the one that also the pigs like to eat, and this is almost as tall as the tree, so that's very impressive. So here the chop and drop was done a lot earlier. I told you about this, but now I also went in here and made a few pretty selective cuts. So a lot was removed, but some of the sunflowers are left standing. I need to be careful here because this is not perfect to walk and talk. So you see this tree here is now more in the open, so that it gets more sunlight. Actually, I should take you through the other side. So let's go here between all this plant material. And you see, I left quite a bit standing because I noticed that they will come back, at least for a while. I think over here there is an example. And you can see this. There's a sunflower that wants to come back. Yeah, that one there. Yeah, you see this one. So depending on where you chop it, it will then continue growing. So my thought is, I'm not an expert, I just try and observe, is that if you cut them high enough, you will not kill the plant, but you will definitely reduce the water consumption, and therefore watering this by hand using a hose is a lot easier. And as there's no irrigation system installed, we need to figure these things out, like I mentioned, and we will. So this reduces a little bit the amount of effort, and after all these other things are biomass, so that the Paulovnia trees can grow. So this is an investment in the future, but the thing is to have these trees. So it's not about the sunflowers or the corn or a harvest or something like that. It is all about getting the biomass there. And as the dogs go in there anyway, it is now a little bit easier to avoid the tree. Because now they can see where the tree is and there is no need to do something to the tree. But if it's full, then of course, by accident, they will topple something. And it is better that they not do this with the trees. But then, there is an example, and I think it is right here, where that happened. So, right there, you can see a tree that was destroyed, and it is already growing back. So this is another one that is growing back. And here is the one that was destroyed earlier. And you see, it's looking very good. It's definitely not destroyed at all. It uses the root system from before. So there is some more of this action. And now the trees have it a little bit easier because they get the sunlight. Originally my idea was to sow seed overhead later, but now I'm trying this variety, this version of it, just because I feel that it is better to use the summer to have these Paulovnia trees grow. The other idea maybe works, maybe does not work, but I think it works much better if there is an irrigation system installed where you can really provide ample amounts of water. Interesting is also that there are now a lot of insects that we did not have here before. The dogs are curious because it smells now in a different way than before and is open, so this is something new. Another interesting thing is this. There are a lot of tomato plants. And if I step to the other side, you can see, well, you can see this also. So there is Schneemann pulling rank on Olaf. This is normal, this is how it goes. They have to do this. So, tomato plants. They self-seeded. So this was the compost pile before, and there were some tomato seeds in there. And they emerged, and they are growing very well. Interesting is also that here there is a lot of charcoal, and when you water this, the water disappears right away. So it takes a lot of water, which then also helps the tomatoes. So they are growing very well. Here's another one. And over here, there is another tomato that also showed up as a volunteer. So that's very good. I hope we can harvest some tomatoes later. And again, there was this drop and chop or chop and drop here to reduce the amount of water sucking plants and a competition over light in favor of the trees. And the same also happened here. The few sunflowers that were very tall and well developed, they were left standing and everything else got cut. So that it looks a little bit nice. Sunflowers are always nice, but the trees can really grow. I have to think about the idea how to seed again here. The problem is, if we just throw seed into this, the birds will eat it and nothing will grow. So we need some way to bury the seed either directly into the soil, seed drilling would be nice, or to cover the seed with something. The original idea was to cut these plants after throwing out the seed, and then hopefully all the leaves will cover the seed. But the first attempt was not extremely successful because the sunflowers and the corn do not really cover the seed. So the seed is still exposed and the birds come and they scratch and search. So eventually only a few seeds turn into a plant. But maybe the sun hemp works a little bit better. So if you look here, the sun hemp is full of leaves, and maybe that can help. The sun hemp also grows a little bit denser than, for example, the sunflowers. So there is more, and maybe that's a way. So maybe you have some ideas, because the use of a seed drill would be perfect and nice, but because of all the stones, this is not possible in many places where we want to do this. So we need some technique that allows us to bury the seed without destroying the discs of a direct seeding machine. So this is still an ongoing thing, and I'm looking for ways to do this. Open for suggestions. Over here in the future garden area, the vetiver on that wall, let's call it this way, is establishing itself. And up there, the soil building mix of now mostly sun hemp and a few corn and a few sunflowers is also coming up nicely. The 3 sprinklers that we use are working well, except, and this is easier to see once I come around the corner. I'll show you this from slightly above. Except here. So you see there is a void spot with only a few plants. The water does not fall into this area. So this sprinkler here goes around like that, and then comes a bit shorter and then goes around like this, but it avoids this area and also this patch of corn here. It wets there where the corn is in much better shape. So this is not as it's supposed to be. And the others do pretty much the same, but the plants are a little bit different. So I am extremely helpful for this suggestion to try these wobblers, and I'm so looking forward to having these wobblers, because they really seem to wet the whole area evenly instead of what these things do. So these things are not the right tool. But these stands, they are certainly very nice. So we can add a pipe and raise the wobbler, and then put the wobbler anywhere without preparation, and the wobbler can easily move because there is a long pipe behind it. So that should then work out much better. So in here I also did a few cuts here and there. It's not so impressive, but I'm trying to look after the plants that I want and use the volunteers as biomass for chop and drop, as the idea tells us to do. So of course there is some standing water from the sprinklers. So here It is now really looking like a jungle. And there are also some tomato plants, but I did seed them. And they are not volunteers like the other ones. But this is really looking very, very nice. So I'm definitely happy with what comes out of here. Water makes all the difference. And having 3 sprinklers certainly made things a lot easier. And the ground here is also soft because it is soaked with water. And you can see there a little bit what got chopped. There is the melon and more lemon, melon and more melon. So this is also growing very well. And I helped it a little bit by chopping the other things so that it won't get overwhelmed. It is growing pretty aggressively, which is good. And I'm also very happy with the size of the palovnia trees here. My hope is that these palovnia trees, when they are a lot taller here, will then provide shade in this direction, because over there is south. But then of course the sun is very, very high, so the shade will probably only reach up to here. So I'm not sure if you can get the perspective here, but probably half the garden. But then we can have an area here with plants that require a little bit more shade versus the others that want full sunlight. So for example, the tomatoes, they would be over there, and something like a salad would probably then be here in the future, once we have improved the soil and it is a lot more fertile. The other thing that I can tell you is that we have been eating okra that I harvested from here. And see, there are the little okras growing. This is a little bit too short, but in a few days this will be of harvest size. Maybe I can see one that is almost ready. No, I see one that is opening, and it attracts insects. So they are growing, and this is full of okra, and it is not a problem with all the wheat that is growing in between. So here and there I come with a tool like big scissors, and I cut the weeds a little bit. So for example, this guy here, and that is enough. I don't have to worry about these grasses there because they don't block the sunlight. So this mix of wheat, Bermuda grass and okra is not a problem. So the lazy gardener is happy. Of course, to really have another type of crop that is not like the okra, that requires a little bit more care, yeah, this is not the technique, I would think. But you can see over there, and also down there, there are more little okras that are growing. Actually, down there I see one that seems waiting to be harvested. So let's see. Maybe the camera has a hard time. So maybe there you can see this. Over there in the box, there is an okra that I can show you that is ready for harvest. And you wonder what we use the okra for? It gets fried in oil to get the slime out, and then it can be part of a Thai or Indian curry, depending whether you use yogurt. So yogurt would be Indian, or coconut, and if you use coconut milk, then it's Thai. And Thai we do like a lot, and we also have another ingredient, which is this wonderful Thai basil here, that really gives it a very special taste. So I am happy to report that we are feeding ourselves a little bit from the garden. Of course, this is not a real garden yet, but it's an upcoming thing. So here, there is an okra. So let's see. There, you have it in all its glory. So this is now definitely of harvest size, and it is still soft. If I wait too long to take off these two guys, then it will be kind of woody, and then it's not so good for human consumption. So I should definitely cut them off and put them in the fridge, so that we can use this for food, because by tomorrow it might be too late. So there you have a little update on the chop and drop action, and see you in the next one.